Before we hop into today's video, I want to do a quick shout out for Players Choice Gridiron for letting me come onto their show and talk about the offensive and defensive rookie of the year race and a little bit about the AJ Brown trade to the Philadelphia Eagles. If you want to go see that podcast episode, I'm going to link it down in the bio. Go check them out. There's some great people. And thank you so much for watching. Let's get straight into the video. Yes, I am a Seahawks fan, and I'm going to talk about the 49ers in most likely a positive light. I do think Trey Lance has the potential to be the best second-year quarterback coming into next year if he gets the opportunity and if they move off of Jimmy Garoppolo, because that's going to be a looming thing in the back of his mind, having a guy like Jimmy G who's the safest option possible for them going into the future. But I do think Trey Lance has all the intangibles and skill sets to be really good. Let's finish the video and end it there. Roll the outro. Kidding. We're going to break down everything that's going on with the 49ers because they've had a tumultuous offseason, to be honest. Like, we have Deebo Samuel going down. We have a Jimmy G injury once again halting the future of this franchise, and Trey Lance. Is he ready or not to take the mantle of the quarterback position? When the 49ers traded up for the third overall pick last year, we all expected them to potentially go with Mac Jones. That's what all the smoke was, and we all believed it was actual fire, but in reality, we were all faked out when they went with Trey Lance. Trey Lance was a project quarterback, but he was seen as one of the most talented guys on the board. I think he's a remarkable athlete, and I think he has had some really bright spots in this year. I think the good thing is he's been able to showcase some of that talent, which gives a lot of bit of hope for the 49ers future. Sometimes when you have a guy that sits behind the bench, you kind of worry that he's going to fade out like a Jordan Love, but I think a guy like Trey Lance being able to come in and have a couple games to start, and potentially he was going to start for a playoff game, but now Jimmy G was healthy enough to play those games. But I think we really saw in those playoff games why Jimmy G is just not ready to be the quarterback for the future of the 49ers. And it's safe to say the biggest difference between the two is the mobility factor. Jimmy G, when we were talking about the Packers game, there was moments where they almost lost that game. It was not a big blowout by the 49ers by any means. And if they didn't have Deebo Samuel, which we'll talk about in the later part of this video, I think they lose that game. I'm not going to give any kind of excuse for Aaron Rodgers and how they played in that environment. But Jimmy G's inability to move around in the pocket and be able to extend plays is what's going to halt this offense in a lot of cases. And that's the case for a lot of older quarterbacks or traditional style quarterbacks. But with Jimmy G, when you don't have a cannon of an arm like he does, it kind of limits this offense overall. And I think Trey Lance could be the guy that unlocks it all. We saw with the 49ers that they could be really, really dynamic with a guy like Trey Lance. But still, he's a guy that's a rookie. He's going to make rookie mistakes. So it's a give and take. Do you want to take the guy that could potentially limit your offense, but you're not turning the ball over, you're not making mistakes, you're not going 3 and out? Or do you want to go with the guy that has the most potential and could honestly unlock this offense to be the best in the league, in my opinion, if they keep Deebo Samuel? And I don't think it's that ridiculous to say that. Now, I like Jimmy G, and I think he's a little bit overhated overall, but I do think that he is going to be a lot better in a different spot. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at the Dolphins if Tua does not work out, and I think that Trey Lance is the future of this team, clearly because I'm making this whole video, and I'm going to title it something called Trey Lance is the future of the 49ers, and they should go with him right now. I think that you have to go all in with Trey Lance if you really want to, and that's why I think they should also pay Deebo Samuel, but I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. I think Trey Lance has all the intangibles and skill sets to be an elite quarterback. And we see with all of the elite quarterbacks in our top 10, they boom by their second year. Second or third year, they really explode into these elite territories. We saw it with Justin Herbert, honestly, year 1. We saw it with Patrick Mahomes in year 2 when he barely played or at all in week 1. With a lot of these guys, you see it very early on, their elite traits and what makes them so good. And I think Trey Lance has the potential to do that. I think his cannon of an arm is what can really make this offense elite. And really, I think that he is so dynamic when he plays really well. I think his best game was against the Houston Texans, which is not much of a flex because the Texans did not have a great team overall. I mean, they were picking number 3. God forbid they have a good defense. And I think that Trey Lance played pretty well. I think it's tough to be a quarterback in the NFL, especially a rookie, when you don't know whether you're going to start from week to week because of how injury prone your starter is. And that's no fault of Trey Lance, and he handled it really well. He seems like a mature guy. He seems like a real leader. And from reports saying that they don't know whether or not they should go with Trey Lance, I think that's blasphemy. He's getting first team reps. Are you kidding me? give Trey Lance the job. It's pretty simple as that. Giving Trey Lance the job and being able to move off of Jimmy Garoppolo should open the door to let Deebo stay. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is all under the condition that the bridge is not completely burned down by Deebo Samuel. Now, if Deebo has burnt that bridge, you move off of him and you bring in another elite guy that could be able to move around and play that wide back role, which is very possible. I think there's plenty of guys in this league that you can do that with. But I think Deebo Samuel is probably the best guy that you can do that. And I think him being able to come back on a bigger contract. Now, if you move off of Jimmy G, you free up a ton of cap room. I mean, an excessive amount of cap room. And you have a rookie quarterback who is going to be on a rookie contract. I think that's a biggest plus. And now, I'm saying this as it's easier said than done. Jimmy G is not an easy guy to move off of, mainly just because of his contract. But I think if in the middle of the year, you're able to keep him around and move him off for maybe a second or third round pick, I think that's a very viable option. Quarterbacks will go down like that in the NFL. All of a sudden, your guy tours his ACL. You need a solid enough guy that might keep healthy enough. Jimmy G's your answer. Now, the problem with it, Jimmy G himself is very much injury prone. He's going to limit whether or not the 49ers are going to be able to move off of him, and that's going to be a huge factor in all of this. Now, Jimmy G might be the best backup quarterback you could ever want because he's arguably a top 20 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. He does have limiting factors, but he's consistent, and that's what you like to see with a quarterback. And if you put him in the right situation, he can obviously lead a team to the Super Bowl. But the problem with the 49ers over the past couple years is everything around Jimmy G has been fantastic. A great running game, one of the best defenses in the league, and I think their secondary does have some question marks, but I think that I trust what Kyle Shanahan can do. They really want a quarterback that can actually win them the games. A lot of the times, the 49ers defense and the surrounding pieces around Jimmy G have been so supportive that he could will them to a certain type of way of winning. Whereas Trey Lance, if everything goes wrong, I think he can will a team to a win, and I think he could be the defining factor in that, and that's why I think they should go all in on him, because you traded up to get to that third overall pick for a reason, because you believed in the guy, and you truly think he can unlock this offense. As well as, I think Kyle Shanahan's going to put him in a situation where he's not going to have to be asked to do too much in his second year. He's going to be asked to move around in the pocket, which is something that's very natural to Trey Lance when you watch it on film. A lot of times at North Dakota State, he was on the run and being able to make throws on the run consistently. I think the biggest thing that he had to work on in this rookie year was his pocket presence and not having to always run out and think that he has to move every single time. Now, I think that's something that can be worked on with Kyle Shanahan, and is someone that I truly believe that can develop him. Trey Lance has superstar written all over him, and I think the 49ers need to go all in for Trey Lance and really give him the keys to this offense. Now, I wouldn't put him in a position where he's going to have to throw the ball like Justin Herbert, but I think that Trey Lance, in the offense that they run, where it's very much get the ball into your playmakers' hands in the open space and let them work, I think that's perfect for Trey Lance. Get the ball out of his hands quickly or move him around so that he can make plays. And I think when you watch a guy like Russell Wilson, who torched the 49ers from a year-in basis, now that might be a biased Seahawks standpoint, but honestly, Russell Wilson was doing that to every NFL team possible, specifically with the 49ers twice a year. I think they saw that and realized, hey, maybe for the best thing in our future is to get a guy that is able to move around and make big plays when things don't go right. Because in all honesty, when the 49ers things did not go right, such as a Joey Bosa injury or things like that, where things have to go off script, whether that's with the roster or with plays, things don't go well. It's a very much structured situation. And when you have a guy like Trey Lance, that allows you to open up and do things that are positive in an out-structured environment. But that's all I gotta say for this video. I think Trey Lance is the guy. I think he should be the quarterback of the future for the 49ers moving forward. I think if you move off of Jimmy G, money talks. You can bring in Deebo Samuel and be like, listen, we can give you the money that you want. In worst case, you get some value out of him. But I think they got to do this sooner rather than later. And whatever you can do to try to move these players, try to do it as soon as possible, because as time goes on, the value gets less and less. And that's where I get worried about the 49ers. And who forgot about Brandon Ayuk? He could be a real asset for this team. And who says he can't still play that Deebo role? I think he can. And I think he's a really talented wide receiver that's being overlooked in then all of this. But if you like the video and you like what I do here, please leave a sub. We just hit 200 subs, which is a huge milestone for me. Thank you so much for watching. We are trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of this summer. So if you like what I do here, let me be your sports guy. Well, let's talk about some sports, and let me know what you want me to talk about, what videos you want to see. You have a defensive rookie of the year video coming out. You have a Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud video coming out. You also have an NIL video coming out as well. Get excited for that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.